Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome you to the inaugural 2016 Responsible Finance Summit. The summit is hosted by Bank Negara, organized by the RFI Foundation, and co-organized by Middle East Advisors. I'm Paul Loomis, the Regional Director of the Middle East and Asia for the business year, and I'll be your moderator for the next 2 days. 2016 is a crucial year for responsible finance. The global wealth disparity is widening, and populist political candidates are playing anxieties about inequality into electoral momentum in some of the world's most influential nations. On the backdrop of these concerns, Islamic finance has seen remarkable growth in the past half-decade, giving rise to a pool of capital governed by ethical guidelines with great relevance to Muslim-majority emerging markets. Technology also continues to have a major impact on the finance industry, with capital committed to crowdfunding expected to surpass that invested in venture capital funds in 2016. It is in the context of these trends that we come together today to discuss the future of responsible finance. And it is the results of the conversations held in this room over the next 2 days that will help to shape that future. A couple of announcements. Sasana Kajang is a Wi-Fi enabled area. The username is RFS 2016. The password is RFS 2016 star, all capitals. Participants are asked not to bring food or beverages into the auditorium. Smoking is also not allowed except for in the designated smoking area. And in the unlikely event that we have to evacuate, you're requested to proceed to the ground floor lobby of Sasana Kajang. For your microphones, which will be used for the Q&A sessions, you press the button to your right, it's by your right arm. Red light will indicate that the microphone is on. When you're finished with your comments, please press that button again to turn off the microphone. Also, Bank Negara would like to invite you to visit the Museum and Art Gallery, which is open from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., and there's a souvenir shop on the ground floor. You should also download the Connect Mega app, which will allow you to participate in all of the voting that will happen today. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce Blake Good, the CEO of the RFI Foundation, for opening remarks.
Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all here today for the Responsible Finance Summit, graciously hosted by Bank Negara Malaysia, organized by the Responsible Finance Institute RFI Foundation, and co-organized by Middle East Global Advisors. Ladies and gentlemen, 8 years on, and we are still struggling to understand how to tame the global financial system to serve the interests of society. Systemically important financial institutions continue to get larger and get more clout, and regulators are still trying to figure out how to regulate conduct. At this critical juncture, leaders of the Islamic finance and asset management industry decided to come together to establish the RFI Foundation with a mission to define a universal value proposition that covers all areas within responsible finance. In this journey, we seek to take inspiration and build on the strong work already accomplished in Islamic finance. Among the many sectors which comprise responsible finance, Islamic finance stands out for its clear and articulate governance, the outcome of which are evident in the strong rulemaking processes and the strong standards frameworks that have been developed to safeguard that framework. These include IOFI, the IFSB, the IIFM. This structured and institutionalized approach is unprecedented in the responsible finance and investing sector, and as such, can provide benefit to the development of the broader responsible finance and investing market. Equally, the Islamic finance industry itself has often lagged when it comes to adopting the latest approaches used by the responsible investing sector. It has much to learn from the advances made by institutions and investors who have taken upon themselves to adopt a principled approach to how their funds are invested and who have set about building a wide variety of rules to assess the environmental, social, and governance impacts of their investments. The RFI's work is focused on bringing all these participants from the financial sector together who are trying to realign the financial sector to be more in line with society's values. This naturally implies recognizing the commonalities between responsible investing as it's been traditionally practiced and Islamic finance to better align their respective approaches to responsible finance to widen the scope globally around the shared principles that they share. Part of this mission involves raising awareness of key issues facing the responsible finance industry. And for the next 2 days, the Responsible Finance Summit will focus specifically on how to enable the development of responsible financial services in the emerging markets. Now, as we welcome you to the Responsible Finance Summit, I would like to introduce the chairperson of the RFI Foundation, Professor Datuk Rifat Ahmed Abdel Karim.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to welcome you all here today for the Responsible Finance Summit organized by the Responsible Finance Institute Foundation and graciously hosted by Bank Negara Malaysia. When the RFI Foundation began planning for this summit last autumn, it was clear in our minds or discussions that the time had arrived for aligning responsible finance around shared values. It was also clear that for the maximum impact, any focus on the entire responsible finance universe had to include emerging markets, which are home to a huge portion of the world's population. These emerging markets are also home to the bulk of Islamic finance assets, a fact which offers a roadmap for growth of the wider responsible finance industry outside of their largest markets today, which are primarily developed markets. The RFI Foundation has benefited from the support of one of the most principled leaders of modern finance, Her Excellency Tan Sri Dr. Zeti Akhtar Aziz, who has served as the chairperson of the RFI Foundation Council of Advisors. I would like to express my gratitude on behalf of the RFI Foundation Board of Trustees to Bank Negara Malaysia and to Governor Tan Sri Datu Zeti Akhtar Aziz for giving us the opportunity to take our mission forward in a meaningful way. In addition, Dr. Zeti's support for the RFI Foundation, she has a very distinguished career as the Governor of Bank Negara Malaysia, who is graciously hosting this summit. During her tenure as governor, Dr. Zeti has led efforts to create a supportive environment in Malaysia, not just for Islamic finance, but also for wider efforts to ensure that ethics are enshrined within the financial sector. Her leadership has also had a significant impact outside Malaysia. Governor Zeti's leadership at Bank Negara has spearheaded Malaysia's leadership at the forefront of the development of Islamic finance globally. The example that she has set while governor has not only strengthened the Islamic finance industry in Malaysia, it has raised the bar for governments to facilitate the development of Islamic finance in many other markets. Governor Zeti has also been a chairperson for re-anchoring the global financial system to the real economy and has been vocal over many years about the importance of aligning the financial industry as a positive force for the global economy. The re-anchoring process involves post changes in the conduct of financial professionals around stronger ethical standards, as well as improved corporate disclosure of environmental, social, and governance data. Progress has been made in both of these areas in Malaysia during her tenure at the head of the central bank. It is incumbent upon us all, as participants in various areas of the financial service sector, to continue this development towards a value-adding and values-based finance system. The RFI Foundation is dedicated to this work, and we look forward to engaging in vibrant discussions and working with you all to shape a common roadmap of how best to translate these shared principles into action during the course of the summit. Without further ado, I would like to welcome you to the summit and welcome Tan Sri Governor Zeti Akhdar Aziz to deliver the opening keynote address for the Round Responsible Finance Summit. Thank you.